Well, folks, it's been almost exactly one full month since Elon Musk purchased Twitter, and company remains in what I kind of have to describe as a bit of a free-for-all. So let's start right there. Mike Armstrong, Mark Vendetti, and Tucker Silva with you on a Tuesday morning where markets just keep flip-flopping between slightly positive and slightly negative territory on hints about what the Fed's going to be doing, as well as the protests in China. But let's start over here domestically with this new fight between Twitter and Apple. So I read some account, and I'm sorry because I don't have a source here. I'll try and find one. But I read by some accounts about half of Twitter's 100 largest advertisers have at some point in the last month taken a pause on advertising on their platform. So as you can imagine, quite a bit of a pressure building up on Elon Musk. And he has now gone out and, picked a bit of a fight with Apple because of some commentary that came from one of the executives in the space on the App Store. And so what you had was Mr. Shoemaker coming out and saying, when Elon comes out and fires the whole moderation team, the first thing I said is that Twitter is going to get kicked off the App Store. That has, since, I guess that might be the former, he might be the former App Store content executive for Apple. I don't think he would have gone out and said that, but since then, Elon Musk has been blowing up at Apple, firing back at, one of the key features of Apple that a lot of people have taken issue with, being the 30% override that they get on any revenue generated from their App Store. That's no new complaint, but he seems to be honing in on this fight with Apple, which, I'm guessing he's going after them because he can't really go after the advertisers that have left the platform, would be my read. Or I don't try and get at motives with Elon Musk. I'm not sure what motivates that guy.
Yeah, hard to say what his strategy is, as you say. I find it bizarre that he characterizes Apple's decision as a private company not to advertise or to restrict access on its App Store, which it is not yet but could, or to siphon off a certain amount of revenues through its App Store. Apple's a private company. It can do whatever it wants. There's a group of people in this country that over the past few years, they've become so infatuated with the policing power on their own platforms of social media that they accuse, bizarrely, private agents of restricting freedom of speech on their own platforms. That's the whole point of free enterprise. Elon may have a point as a business person. He's trying to browbeat them into re-upping with their advertising, I guess, and not to put any additional restrictions on App Store access. But it's a free country, buddy.
Yeah.
Apple's a private actor.
Yeah, they can choose to do whatever they want. I think the one piece that Elon Musk could bring up that he doesn't seem to have honed in on that I think is a fair critique of Apple is the fact that in the App Store space, there's basically Apple and Google, and that's it. They have massive market share. Yeah. I would argue that perhaps they act a bit monopolistically in some cases, and that I think would be a reasonable critique of these companies to say, look, you operate as a monopoly. For whatever reason, the Justice Department hasn't chosen to go after you, but I don't think that is likely any sort of headline that Apple wants to be making right now, drawing attention to themselves again you tell me if you feel differently, but I hesitate to look at any market there are very few markets with as little competition for private companies as there are the market for the App Store specifically. I know the argument, the counter argument from the likes of Google and Apple as well. If you go on certainly that's the case for mobile devices, but if you go on an Xbox, then you have the Microsoft App Store. If you go on a tablet or a PC, then there are different app stores that you can download from different places. But the fact of the matter remains that for the mobile App Store in the United States, there are two real players. Apple, Google, that's it.
Yeah.
And I think that would be, if you were trying to be Elon Musk and going after Apple, that would be where you go, rather than saying, hey, you charge too much.
Well, here's another thing.
What? Every other company has said the same thing about them, and they've lost in court. They haven't gotten anywhere.
Apple's an advertiser, so they're a customer, if you like. Isn't this best handled privately? You want to call out one of your biggest customers on Twitter or whatever platform and chastise them? Is that
the problem is
what's wrong with these people?
The problem is they're both an advertiser and
a gatekeeper.
Gatekeeper.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's coming down on the advertising side. I think he's coming down largely on the gatekeeping side, because that's what he likes to do, is fight against.
Boy, the overexposure of Musk is gotten to the insufferable point. And he's got questionable. Maybe there is a grander strategy at work here, so there's method to the madness. But at some
doesn't
point,
seem like
we're
it with
overly
Twitter.
saturated with his every thought, some of which
Yeah.
might be good, many of which sound a little bit nutty, and it's working out well for him. He stays in the headline.